what is the impact of that in this area. Right? That is how it should be. So there are a lot of things to be done. I think we have just started, but a lot of things to be done to get the correct message to the people in time. That's basically what we have to do.
Just to clarify, I'm Madhushka Balasri from MTV. Just to clarify what you just said, are you saying that at the DMC and at the Med Department that your personnel don't actually know what damage a particular 70 kilometer, 100 kilometer wind would do to certain areas? Is that what you just said?
But I say is now when there's a speed of 70 kilometers per hour, there's a building. So that building, whether the roof will go off or not, they won't be able to tell. Even the DMC will not be able to tell. So we have to contact the engineers and the people who are doing that one, design the thing, and get their opinion. What is the effect of this into the building? What is the effect of this into the system? Then only we can issue the warning.
Just a suggestion, don't you think if you all had sort of maybe a training program for all your new personnel, just so that they would know, right, this speed, this is what the appropriate action should be, this is what the people should be told, and maybe just even study previous disasters to see what the impact has been? Wouldn't that help?
Sure, that's what is happening now. At the moment, we have had the technical committees on the various building sites. There are engineers working on that with the universities, and they are deciding what is the impact of this type of wind on the building. What is the impact of this on the particular infrastructure? So they say now, when there's a speed of this much, the building roof might go off. So that information we are getting now. So once that is there, then we can have a training program to our people. We look at the speed, and you can then say now this will be impacting this one. So that information need to be collected and decided. So the people who are dissemination, they will not know unless we get the input from the correct technical people. Say same thing say the boat. If the small boat in the sea, if there is a wind speed of 70 kilometers, then we have to find out whether that will stand. Now the one day boat which go beyond the 10 kilometer, it can stand. It is with the inside engine. But outside engine, the small boat will not stand. So those things we have to get the people, the experts, and then say what is the impact of this. These are still not happening, but we have to do that. Because otherwise it will not be correct, accurate information.
Do you have a timeline for when this would, when you all will be able to get
now,
this?
as it is now, it says now what will happen tomorrow. So now we have to get the people agreement immediately, the impact of these things in the system. And that's what we have to do. As much as possible we have to do. I think we have no time to lose. So we have to get it immediately and develop something which may not be 100% accurate, but at least something accurate so people can believe.
Could you give us a rough timeline, maybe like a week, 2 weeks? Would you be able to give us that?
In fact, I am not able to tell, but I am not in the system at the moment. But I think there's an urgency on that. And also we have to get that urgency into the practice.
Russell, the tornado guide that you showed us was from BBC, I believe. Am I right? Something similar to that. I'm sure you all won't be able to say that, a 40-story building, the impact is going to be this, and a 30-story building, the impact is going to be something like this. But something like the tornado guide that Russell showed us a short while ago, which was from the BBC, can't it have something like that at least as a start? Is that practical, Russell?
Yes, it is practical.
Yeah.
But this comes with a health warning. The health warning is that this was constructed, obviously, as you rightly say, with constructions in the UK in mind. So obviously the materials and the building regulations change from country to country. So there will be, variations, and some of them will be substantial. So obviously, if some buildings are far more flimsy than others in other countries, made of different materials, they will be impacted a lot more by the strengths of wind. So that's why it requires local knowledge and local guidelines and rules to be put in place. So that's a good template, but it would change according to the region.
And I'm sure Siobhan would agree. If there is something like that, we can always have it on our website as well. Whenever there is a problem, we can always say cross-promotion saying you can access www.newsfirst.lk or even a site of the Med Department. I think Siobhan would agree that we would definitely go ahead with something like that. And as an organization that is always for the people and listen to their concerns, I think we can definitely do that.
Also, one other thing is, I'd just like to ask you, in terms of an earthquake in, let's say, the Sumatra region, How would you get the information message to the Met Department? Perhaps how is the information relayed to you? In the case of, for instance, earthquake in the Sumatra region, which may or may not impact Sri Lanka, how would the Met Department be first told about the earthquake?
Yeah, actually, that RTSP, Regional Tsunami RTSP Service Provider. For our region, Australia, Indonesia and India is responsible for that. So they are sending the messages to us.
How are they sending the message?
We have a dedicated special system, GTS, Global Telecommunication System. So through that, they are sending and through fax and even SMS. Through SMS also, they are sending that information to us.
Right. The reason I ask you is because that information is already available on many applications. It's just a matter of downloading it, and in fact, we don't depend on, I think, the Met Department, do we? Weather One and all these people. It's the exact same alert. We get to know that there's an earthquake in Sumatra, but of course, we don't know whether it's can cause a tsunami or not. So then we contact the Met Department. So it's a very fast method of disseminating information. But if I'm stating this openly here, if by chance the Met Department, the Disaster Management Ministry would like to explore these kinds of new media opportunities, we are more than willing to assist you with that development.
It's good.
1.5 years ago, when the tsunami warning was issued, we were the first organization to go on air, and we stopped all our programming, and we did not get the alert from the Met Department, to be very honest. We got it from the Hawaii Geological Survey and Mines Bureau, several miles away from Sri Lanka. So that shows that we are always on the lookout, always on the alert. Something like that, right, Shivan? That's what.
Yeah, exactly. We will be willing to work with you and help develop a system that makes it. I'm not talking about a system for the public. We don't expect the public to download applications, not yet. But we think that if between our two, organizations, if we can develop a system that is easily that communicates easily, even easier than an SMS or a phone call. Any time of the day, it's automatic. The minute you get a message, it should then be relayed to us automatically. After, if it's at a certain severity, I think we'll be more than willing to help you develop this kind of system.
And the other thing, we have another system, CISN, California Integrated Network. It is given the alarm according to the magnitude of the earthquake. The magnitude is 5, it is giving the alarm 5. If it is 6, it's giving the beep 6 times, like that.
And that is only for the Met Department. It can't be shared with, for instance, our newsroom.
I think so. I cannot. I'm not sure that we have that system.
That could be checked.
Right.
Yeah, we have to
Because
check.
that is not,
Yeah.
if there is no more questions. No, there is. Okay. Comment. Thank you.
As beyond medias, our concern is to get this early warning to the public as soon as possible. For this purpose, for example, the tornadoes and high winds and other things, and also the tsunamis, our technical agency is the Met Department. And for the fact one, we are contacting the Education Department. And for any kind of health issues, say pandemic influences like that, we contact the Ministry of Health.
So flood warning, you contact the irrigation
Department. For myself, I'm working for the emergency operation unit. Right? We also learned that there's certain rescue missions as well. For this purpose, we rescued several fishermen using our this how we are issuing these early warnings. And for this purpose, I guess now with these discussions, the media can play a huge role for the early ones, especially the early.
And the landslide. At that time, we had lost nearly about 254 people. Compared to the number of people affected, now it's about 37 every 10,000 people at the 2003 floods. It has come down, and leaving the tsunami is a special case where we unexpected disaster destruction. But since then, 2010, 11 and 12, there were floods and floods. Basically, the floods in 2010, we have come down to about less than 1% for 10,000. So that again it had come down to about less than 1%, 10,000 people affected. So that's an improvement of people losing their lives, because we don't like anybody losing their life. But there's a trend that set in Sri Lanka to get the people much more safer and bring down the number of people getting killed. So I think this trend, I think, because of the system that is established and also the rescue system that is already there. I think we have to continue with that. We have to strengthen the system further so that we can get maybe the number of people affected 100,000 less than one, something like that. So I think that's some of the target we have. If you can get the next one. But I think the worrying factor is not the really, we have to keep the trend going on to save the lives. But the problem is the number of the damages and losses are increasing. Can we get the next one? Now this is now 10, and if you can look at it, it's 11, it's about 77 billion rupees, the damages and losses. So the problem is now, these are the things that we have to cut down if you want to invest on the other areas. Because the more you have the losses and damages, we have to again spend money on the improvement infrastructure. So I think that we have to have a balance, but while keeping the momentum on reducing the loss of lives, we also have to reduce the damages and losses on the infrastructure. That is something which we have to keep in mind. And I think that we are working with the people, awareness, and also the people construction, and also the development, to get the people developers also understand whatever the development they do has to keep in mind with the risk reduction measures. Because now say things like maybe southern highway which I built has created certain problems in the areas like Muthuguma. Floods, they are great floods. So we don't want that to happen. There's a development is that take into consideration how to minimize the effect of that on the environment. But that has to be balanced. Otherwise, one way the development, other way it causes damage, the disasters. So this is something which we are really working on. Thank you.
If there are no more questions, we can wrap up. And I think that was very good ending of a very interesting session. Mr. Chandra before that mapped out who is doing what, more or less, which is a good point to start on from here. I think what we'll do when we go back, when we go away, will be to put a small report of where we identified missing links or weak points. And then it's up to you to get it to the relevant authorities to start acting. I probably will ask few of you if we can access the presidential office in some way to say, look, we have done this job, we have worked how to improve things. Can you please help Met department to get the needed technology, and can you please facilitate all these efforts to have a very coherent standard operational procedures. It was a pleasure to be here in Sri Lanka. We were treated so well, and I'm sure we are coming back. I would like to ask you before we disembark two things. One is, if you have any suggestions what we can do as a result of all these meetings, just jot them down. If you have any suggestion of future training, how IBU can help, I already said we might talk to NHK to come and show their system, which might give a lot of ideas to you guys. So be open and please say what are the needs and how we can help. The other one is, I would like to draw your attention to something that we are doing in next year. We gave away some of our propaganda, I call it, what we do in ABU. But what we are doing next year in Jakarta, April, is we are trying to get all countries in the region together, disaster management authorities, Met offices, broadcasters to continue to work on this platform. And what I personally would like to see is Sri Lanka team coming and reporting what you have done in these 8 months that are living. So look at this. We'll be in touch for organizing the event, and I think it's very timely. And by then you might even have good videos to show how the Doppler radar has been installed, what the fishery ministry has done, because we don't want just talking, we want to see how broadcasters can basically talk through their work. And there are so many stories I identified in the last few days. If you want to ask me, it's another session. If Russell wants to say something, okay, you can't resist.
Very quickly, yeah. Thanks very much. Obviously, what we've tried to do is, just to recap very, very suddenly, we're trying to spot up the discrepancies. We're trying to spot up the weaknesses. I think Siobhan was exactly right, spot on when he said it's not a finger-pointing exercise at all. It is literally trying to work on the weaknesses and make sure it doesn't happen again. And if we can save one life, and it may sound trite, it may sound cliched, but that is exactly what we're trying to do. As I said, as 30 years as a broadcaster, just reporting on suffering is not enough. We have to do something about it. So if this is a springboard for improvements to be made and to be implemented, it'll have been worthwhile. So thank you very much.